sir, we welcome you to the first session, Blockchain, the Way Forward. I request the chairperson of Information Technology Committee, Bishan Shah sir, to introduce the faculty.
So thank you very much, Secretary of the Branch, CA Abhinav Malavia is always there as a rock star for all of us, because he has thanked everyone, but his support, his meticulous planning when chairperson is not there is of much importance, and he did each and everything for this conference. He has given me credit, but it is not like that. It is little bit exaggerating. Actually, everyone, our chairperson, secretary and team did everything, because as far as the information technology is concerned, I am not that much knowledgeable. Information, indirect taxes are there, then it's definitely I can say I have a forte. Now it's Jangid sir is always coming to our branch for these national conference, and he doesn't require any introduction as such. Sir, but the topic, the blockchain, is camera which has been fixed on each and every financial transaction, I can say. And as an auditor, as our chief guest also said, our central council member also said, that we need to make people aware that these cameras are there on their activities. I remember the story of Akbar and Birbal, where Akbar said that I want to have a bath full of milk, and everyone in the evening and night went there and pour a pot of a water. So they thought that who is going to see? But now that attitude is required to be changed, and we are going to, we will facilitate, or we will draw the attention to the citizens of this country regarding this type of change which is taking place in the country. Now I have a pleasant task to introduce our learned faculty, Anand Jangid sir. Sir is a passionate evangelist for tech-based disruption in risk, audit and finance domain. Anand is professionally a chartered accountant and certified information system auditor. He is managing partner at AJA, an organization with focus in the area of risk analytics, fraud analytics, machine learning and blockchain for business in North America and India. Anand was part of the risk management team at Goldman Sachs, covering multiple audits across much geography for different function in the organization. His areas of specialization were forex audit, DP audits, anti-money laundering, Basel II, BCP and operational risk. Prior to Goldman Sachs, he was with the ES Consulting Group at Infosys Technology Limited, Bangalore. We all are proud for this company and who take us forward in the technology. I remember World is Flat Book, where they have also said about how Infosys made this whole world at a flat level. He has been involved in enterprise risk management implementation and IT audit for many international projects at USA, UK, Japan and China. And with these words, sir, we at Ahmedabad welcome you. Please give big round of applause to sir. Thank you very much.
A very good morning, and as Bishan Bhai was saying, I am not new to Ahmedabad. So when you are not new to Ahmedabad, there is one challenge which comes. You know what is that? So none of you want to have the repeated slides, right? So मैं वही कर रहा था. Actually, I was actually updating my content. I can't give you the same content again and again. Either you'll say, okay, Anand, the same thing, he is going to put it up there. So it's another challenge which is there. I have to add more blocks to my chain, add more content and everything and bring it out here. Now before I start, the discussion, and that's the reason I have a presentation for, I think sir, 1 hour I have, okay? 1 hour. So slowly we'll try to fix all the time gaps and everything. So I have 1 hour of my time and I just wanted to have a show of hand. So आप में से कितने लोग the fundamentals of blockchain आपको पता है? मतलब let's not go into the fundamentals. It's okay. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, now it's okay. How many of you don't know the fundamentals of blockchain? It's also fine. Please raise your hand so that you know. Okay. So we have a majority of people who don't understand the fundamentals. So can I just take, with your permission, थोड़ा सा हम time fundamentals पे focus करें? Is it fine? Yes. So let me be very honest. This discussion which we are going to have for next 1 hour, and I'm using the word discussion. I'm not using the word a kind of presentation. The reason is I want you guys to be interactive, understanding, and asking me questions when you don't understand. With all due respect, when first time I was in Infosys when I first time heard about blockchain, because I don't know if you know, we have a product called Finacle, and I don't know if you know, you should be proud of that, that the product architect, you know, there is something called product architect and product manager. For that is a gentleman called Raja Maya. He's a chartered accountant, and Raja Maya was a good friend of mine. So Raja told me that, you know, we are thinking, this is, I'm talking 2013, but 2012-13, he first said we are thinking of having blockchain and in Finacle. This is like a discussion we were having over a cup of coffee, and my initial understanding was ये blockchain क्या होता है, why it is there. So I come from a generation, I think a lot of people of you are here, and be honest, आप में से कितने लोगों ने पहली बार जब सुना था ये वर्ड डिजिटल सिग्नेचर, आपने सोचा था साइन करना और स्कैन करना, दैट इज डिजिटल सिग्नेचर? पक्का, be honest. I come from that one, because first time when MC21, I'm talking about when I was like, you know, article and all the thing, 2002 or 2001 की बात है, this whole thing was going on. हमने सोचा digital signature मतलब that is the thing. So when the first time I heard this term blockchain, I had a different perspective. And honestly speaking, this guy tried to explain me a lot. मुझे कुछ समझ में नहीं आया first time. But over a period of time, I have understood it. So I am just trying to summarize my understanding, where I am trying to understand from a perspective of chartered accountant. Our topic today is two-part. So we will actually try to spend 15 to 20 minutes on the fundamentals of blockchain. But our main objective is, जो हमें we should be focusing on, in my opinion, is how do we use blockchain? Okay, using of blockchain and how it is important for chartered accountant to understand that. That would be something which is very, very important. I hope I am clear in that. Okay, so let's try to go into that. I hope this concept, all of you are aware of that. There is a concept which is going on in the market called Industry 4.0. आपने सुना है कई लोगों ने Industry 4.0? This is like the big thing which is happening. But Industry 4.0, you just go anywhere. I was in, 2 weeks back I was in Dubai, and in Dubai we had one, this was, session happening. They have one of their annual conference, IT conference, which is happening. You can imagine, like, I visited many of the stalls, and 60% of the stalls are telling, oh, our solution is for Industry 4.0, our solution is for this areas and all the thing. Now, Industry 4.0, this whole concept, basically where does it come from? Where is the genesis? Because blockchain also somewhere comes and fit in that whole concept of Industry 4.0. So this is the fourth industrial revolution which industries is talking about. I am sitting in Ahmedabad, and this whole Vadodara belt is full of industries and all that kind of thing. And if you have heard about this industrial revolution concept, I hope you know that we have already gone across with 3 industrial revolution. The first being what happened with mechanization in steam engine. उसका time आप देख सकते हैं 1784 में start हुआ था. The starting point was 1784, but उसका जो peak came, the peak came in the you can say 1820, 1830 was when the peak came, when steam loom and everything started happening everywhere. Now, so that was the starting point of first industrial revolution. Steam engine was everything coming up, and that was the thing. अब ये जो peak आता है उसमें time लगता है. There is a kind of time which takes out there. Now, second industrial revolution, it actually started in 1870s, but the peak came after in 1920s and 1930s. How many of you have watched this one very interesting movie by Charlie Chaplin called Modern Times? आपने उसके clips वगैरह देखा है? वो जो machine के अंदर चला जाता है, बाहर निकलता है, he is feeded by machine and all thing. That was the peak of second industrial revolution. अगर आपने ध्यान से वो film देखी है, you will see CCTV cameras there. You know, you will see that he's telling about CCTV cameras. He's talking about mass productions and all things. That was the second industrial revolution. Now, most of the people sitting in this room, we only have seen in movies what this industrial revolution was. But one thing which we have experienced, all of us in this room, for sure, is what we call it as the third industrial revolution. And that has been what we call as started in 1969, and it is something which peak came in 2005 onwards. And you have seen the way, speed at which things have changes. And that was all about computers, chips, and electronics. If you have seen the speed at which electronics won, you know, it was something which is amazing. Now, if you see, there was one very interesting talk. I don't know if you have heard a talk. This is by head of Deloitte. It's a Bombay Chartered Accountants Society का अगर आप YouTube channel पे जाते हैं, so उसमें एक बहुत interesting talk है, the future of audit. So I would highly recommend you to read that, listen to that thing. This is by the ex-CEO or you can say head of Deloitte in India. And he gave a very interesting example for the third industrial revolution. उन्होंने बोला कि if you take two industries, only two industries, take automobile industries represented by Volkswagen, and you take also one more industry which is like IBM representing the computer industry. The advancement जो computers में हुआ, अगर वो का वो automobile में होता, so today you would have a car which will go round the world in 1 liter of petrol and will not require any maintenance anytime. And that is true. Like for example, did you notice one very interesting thing? How many of you had in your school computer labs? Okay. So do you remember कि उसमें वो होता था कि आपको नहा धो के चप्पल उतार के फिर अंदर जाना है? मतलब बिना नहाए नहीं भरते थे ना? नहीं. But why did they ask you to remove your sleepers and all the things? Any idea? Dust. They said, oh, dust हो गया तो computer सब खराब हो जाएगा. Today you just take your laptop, go anywhere, car, everywhere and all thing. Did you actually ever worry about all this kind of thing? Do we worry about that thing? We have come a long way in electronics. You have to give it to me. Like the way, I don't know, how many of you have an iPhone in this room? Okay, so mark all the rich people in the room. Jokes apart, but do you know your processor CPU power जो आपके पास में है, it is more than the CPU power what is used in Mars rover. Can you imagine that? So imagine एक हम लोग मार्स पे हम मतलब भेज रहे हैं, उसका जो CPU पावर है उससे कम से कम 30 गुना ज़्यादा आपका iPhone का पावर. And I don't know if you have seen this M2 chip, the new M2 chip, that is like huge. So it's a kind of a great thing. We should be proud of ourselves. We should pat our back. But अगर आप देखते हैं the next one, that is the most interesting thing. That's something you can go to the site of World Economic Forum. They are actually talking about that. That is their theme for last 4 years. They are saying Industry 4.0. They are saying we have already entered it. लेकिन उसका पीक नहीं आया. आप देख सकते हैं 1969 में आया था, उसका पीक आने में कितना टाइम लगा? 40 साल लगे, right? Here what we are saying is we have already come to that. We have started with that thing. And this is all about tools like cyber physical system, IoTs, networks, big data, smart manufacturing, blockchain, all of that thing are part of that thing. They are called as the accelerators of what we call it as Industrial Revolution 4.0. And can you see this word? वो पहला word is the most dangerous word here. It says cyber physical system. What do you mean by cyber physical system? Any idea? What they are saying is, yes sir. Expert system. Okay, in one way I agree. Something more than that? Something added to that? See, cyber physical system is like one of my friends said, बहुत interesting, इच्छाधारी नागिन. Okay, it's like you don't know what shape it takes. Like for example, Tesla is a car or a computer? Both. It's a cyber physical system. It has an engine, it has tires, everything. It's a physical system. But if you go for the auto car mode of that, or the self-drive mode, it's a computer altogether, right? Now, this is called the crossbreed of machines and physical systems. We are calling about that आने वाले टाइम में you are not able to differentiate that. Now this is what is the next things which is coming and hitting us. Now in one of this part of that is you can see this IoTs and all thing that lead to one very interesting thing. Whenever you are doing any of these things, it leads to have an impact on finance also. Finance and audit, which is our bread and butter, right? That's the area where you see that there is a requirement which is coming now, which was never out there. Finance was always known as what? Back office. Remember, हमें होता था कि मतलब there was a time, 2008 that recession came and all thing. So for IT recession was there. तो उस टाइम में हम लोग ये हिसाब करते थे कि इन्फोसिस के पास में इतना पैसा है तो हमें इतने दिन बैठा के सैलरी दे सकती है, और फिर हम लोग ये सोचते थे कि फिनेंस वालों को तो लास्ट में निकालेंगे, बाकियों को पहले निकालेंगे. So finance was always taken as like the boring people of the world. But it's changing. If you are actually hearing, I would highly recommend you to check out that ET CFO manners, and they had a very interesting session which happened recently, and they are saying, oh, decisions are not going to happen the way it used to happen earlier. The way we are seeing the finance being, of what we learn is changing. So you see, it's talking about multifunctional collaboration, which basically means something which will become, ये जितने भी points मैंने लगाए हैं, all these things are something which is going to be enabled with blockchain. So please try to understand that there is a kind of a connection between what we are seeing here and how it is coming. Data-driven business process where your decisions are based on actual information and not on your gut feeling. Or technology-enabled business transformation. We'll see some of the examples of that. And this is a very interesting thing. Holistic approach. Now, this is one of the biggest things. See, we had one very bad thing which is taught to us and it has become in our DNA. You know what is that? Anyone? I think the word I always say is, हमें बताया गया था conservatism. याद है? Institute ने पढ़ाया conservatism in everything. We have become very conservative. And that is wrong thing. You be conservative in the way you are trying to think of that. Sir, you at some point, sorry, I missed that time. What else you wanted to add? Conservatism के अलावा कुछ भी? It's a business analysis. It's a good point. Actually, I learned always something new from Ahmedabad. Last time I was here, I learned some very new thing. That was about how a Mehta cannot be married to Patel. I'm not joking, seriously. So honestly, बोल रहा हूँ, मैं मजाक नहीं कर रहा. Some case study we were discussing and someone said, sir, this was never come to my mind. And they said, sir, Mehta cannot marry Patel. I said, this is a very interesting thing. I never know this kind of thing can happen, but I learned one new thing. It's a good thing, a good point. You have to see the business as a whole. You can't just see the numbers and all the thing. And there are a lot of other factors which we need to do that. And this is the one I was trying to talk about, this culture of experimentation. This is very, very important. Oh, what happened? What did I do? Did I do something? Okay. No, मैंने कुछ नहीं किया sir. Okay. मैंने कुछ नहीं किया, पहले बोल देने का, कुछ भी खराब हो जाए तो you don't take the responsibility of that. Nevertheless, so this is all the points which are there. Now, ये हो गया generic genesis. Let's go to the blockchain genesis. Okay. Now, when we talk about blockchain, friends, the idea which comes to our mind is कि क्या हो रहा है, why we are having it. I will try to go to one very interesting thing and then I come to that. Some challenges today I'll talk about why blockchain has become so much of thing. I'll talk from finance perspective first and then I'll talk from the technological perspective so that you understand both perspective out here. Okay? Now, this is something which a lot of people are already aware of. I'll give you some challenges and then you can decide on that. First, any banker in the group? No bankers, right? Any banker? No. So we can say bad thing about them. Okay. So I'll give you one example. See, have you noticed one thing? Do people like to change or not change? Not change. अगर कुछ चल रहा है, they just want it to be going like that. And that lead to something which we call inefficiency in the system. A very basic example I want to give you is our banking system today. Now, if you see the banking system today, it is actually one of the most inefficient system you can think of. The reason being centralized. Do you agree or not? The whole banking system is so centralized. Don't you think if I want to transfer money abroad, Hawala will be a better option than, with all due respect. No, if you see from the efficiency, cost of transfer and everything, Hawala is a better option, honestly speaking. Legally, it's wrong. I agree with your point. But the point is that, why can't we learn from all of this kind of stuff? A simple thing. I'll give you 2 examples for that. I tried to transfer, I was in US for quite some time when I was in Infosys, and I had a bank account in a bank called PNC Bank, not PMC. PMC band ho gaya idhar. This is a PNC Bank. It's actually more of a bank, mostly in Chicago side and all thing. It's a county bank. So I had an account out there, and I wanted to transfer $3,000 of my hard-earned salary money from that account to ICICI Bank account in India. It should be very easy. Nowadays we do this, what we call it as Paytm karte rehte, kitna karte transfer hota. India is like one of the great thing. Think of how much money would I have paid as commission for doing it and how much time it would have taken. Any guesses? हाँ, परसेंटेज कितना दिया होगा मैंने? नहीं, 1-2% ये दुबई का पैसा रहे हुए लगता है. US ट्राई कीजिए. Actually, I was a preferred customer of this one, but despite that, I paid 4.76% as my commission. You know why did I pay this one? And some of you would know that. Yes, sir. Perfect. There is a concept called correspondence banking. Have you heard about this thing? 1970 से चला आ रहा है. Don't you think technology has moved? We should move with that. Like, we have the same thing, right? We keep on saying auditor is a watchdog, not a bloodhound. But that case study is which year? 1890 ka hai. You can't keep on doing it up that. What has worked in the 70s will not work in this new era which is there. The reason is PNC Bank doesn't talk to my ICICI Bank directly. So they will talk to Bank of America. Bank of America will talk to State Bank of India, US. State Bank of India, US will talk to State Bank of India, India. And State Bank of India will talk to ICICI Bank. Now all of this will take small part out of my money. $3,000 पे अगर 4.75% दे रहा हूँ, कितना पैसा दिया मैंने? I paid a huge amount of money to this inefficiencies of people. If they are not efficient, why should I be bothered for that? And I tried the same version with one more option. You know what is that? How many of you know that PayPal in India has a tie-up with SBI? Yes, you are aware of that? So what I did is, not through PayPal, I transferred through a service called Ripple, R-I-P-P-L-E. Ripple is also a kind of a bit, kind of a crypto coin also is there, but there is a service also by Ripple. I transferred to Ripple, same amount of $3,000. My cost was hardly 60 cents. And I got the money in 2 days in my PayPal account. Whereas the other time it took 7 days. Now, why would I go to an inefficient system? I will always go. आज के time में anyone, if you want to like, नहीं, I will go to Tanga में जाऊँगा या I'll go in a car. I'll go in a car. I have better options. Why should I go back to the same thing? Same challenges are being talked out here. There are a lot of inefficiencies and there is a problem out here. We call this as the trust economy. Today, I have to pay everyone for making a trust economy. If I'm paying a banker 4.7%, if I do Hawala, kya rate rahega? What is the rate going? Any idea? No? Come on. You all know, you'll not tell, it is okay. It is less than, I think, 2%, right? Less than 1 point some kuch percent chal raha hai. So, which is better? Hawala is better. But the point is that, yes, it's illegal. We know that. But the point is that, don't you think the trust-based economy which is there, they should change it up? Take simple example. Anyone knows how much commission does Uber takes from the driver? Huh? It goes up to 35 to 40%, depending on how you are attached to that. Now, it means if I am paying 500 rupees to that, I am giving it to that. The reason why I am paying them so much is, I don't know who the driver is, but anyway, the driver cancelled the thing. Anyway, there is nothing they can do it out there. But this is the concept of trust-based economy. What we are talking about is, can we have a system which is called a trustless economy, where the process, आपने एक term सुना है कई बार, internal audit में बात करते थे, we call it up Focus more on the process, not on the person. What the person is doing is not important. What is the process happen is more important. Can I focus on the process side? Now, I want to show you one more example of this one. How many of you heard about a gentleman called Rube Goldberg? R-U-B-E Goldberg, a Jewish guy. He was very famous for making cartoons in the 60s and the 70s. आज अगर आप जाके देखते हैं तो उसको बोला जाता है रूब गोल्डबर्ग मशीन्स. He will have machines like this.
Moi j'aime ton gitane. इसके pocky boxicane.
So this is called as Rube Goldberg machines. You can go on YouTube. There are channels which only talks about this. And why this is so important, I'll tell you. I am making a page turning process, which is a very simple process of turning a page. How complex has been made? Are you getting my point? This is exactly which is done by many of the banks and financial institutions. That's the reason when you talk about any time, blockchain, the word comes up. The first things which are very scared of this are banks and credit card companies, because they have a very complex process unnecessarily made there to actually create a trouble out there. And this is what they are trying to change out here. I'll take two more examples of the challenges and then we'll go into the blockchain. Chaliye, theek hai. Let's take this credit card companies thing, okay? Anyone here can tell me what is the revenue? Challenge you to Google it out also. What is the revenue of 3 companies, okay? Visa, MasterCard and Amex. Kya revenue? Okay, forget revenue. Tell me what is the profit of them in 2022. Worldwide profit. You will not get the data so easily. Try doing it. All of us know, right, what is the charges for every credit card transaction which is there? I don't have the data of recent data. I have data till 2021. 2021, these 3 companies combined had an annual profit of more than, can you imagine, $45 billion. Profit, net profit. Hai. This is all after the charges. Now, don't you think that is a huge number which is there? The reason is, all of us know the settlement period, T+2 settlement and blah, blah, blah. I will not go into that. But don't you think there is actually, the whole system has come a long way. There is a lot of things which can happen today. If I can have a peer-to-peer is like I transfer to you directly. In UPI, that is also a technology which we are all using it up. Do you pay a commission of that scope when we are doing any payment out there? Settlement happen, वहाँ पे भी settlement होता है, पैसा भी जाता है, everything happens out there. So why can't we use it up? That's something which we need to understand. And the third one, which is a very interesting example, is, let's say I want to monetize this PowerPoint presentation. I want to, our next speaker is here already, right? Sir, तो खत्म करना है क्या? नहीं. चलिए नहीं, Durgesh bhai is there, so anyway. So the point is, if I want to monetize this PowerPoint presentation, is it possible to monetize it? मतलब आप सबसे 1-1 रुपया लेना है मेरे को, possible है? नहीं. कैसे possible है? One person will pay 1 rupees. After that he will make Control C, Control V. See, internet has a bigger problem. आपको एक बात याद है ना, कोई भी चीज जिसका scarcity होता है, उसका demand होता है. Do you agree to this or not? अगर land की scarcity है, there will be a demand for land. The rate will go high. If it is in abundance, do you think there is going to be a kind of a demand for that? Not at all. Now, internet has a different problem. It created a problem of abundance. आज एक information है, it can go everywhere. Now, there are a lot of people in the media who are creating a lot of content. आपने एक नाम सुना होगा NFTs, NFT, non-fungible token, non-fungible tokens. What they are trying to do is they are trying to create this problem of there is abundance of everything. How can I put that as a scarce resources, and it is something which you can be sure about ki this is like I give this PowerPoint presentation to you, you do 5 changes to this and send it to 100 people. It's possible, right? Now, which one is the original one? Which is the correct one? Which is the right version which is there? And every time it gets sold, can I get a 1 rupee in my ledger account or my account? Is it possible? Presently, we don't have that challenge. So, these 3 challenges, where do we find a solution? In fact, one of my friend is there, whose name is Ravi. I don't know if you are aware of, there is a company in Bangalore which is actually run by a chartered accountant. Ravi is a chartered accountant, Ravi. And Ravi is, he actually does a lot of enterprise blockchain solutions. So he was telling me one very interesting thing. He said, Dekho Anand, blockchain is like aloe vera. You know aloe vera, right? Ladies knows about that. Aloe vera can be used for everything. It's a beauty product also. It's a health product also. It can be used in multiple ways, multiple things it can help it up. Now what they are trying to say is blockchain is not a technology one thing. It's a concept. How you use it is the technological powers which comes into picture, and that's something which we have to deal with that. Now, why we should know about that? This is very important. This thing I always say that the fundamental of blockchain is a concept called DLT, distributed ledger technology. And I'll explain you why this is called distributed ledger technology. The fundamental is imagine, okay, reimagine the ledger. अब छोटा सा example देता हूँ. I'll give an accounting example. So all of you know, we have one very big problem with double entry system of bookkeeping. Yes or no? No one agrees because we are doing it's our bread and butter. I'll tell you what is the biggest problem with double entry system of bookkeeping, and you will agree with me. The biggest problem with double entry system of bookkeeping, exam में हम लोग जब लिखते हैं तो हम लोग लिखते हैं in the books of X this is the entry, in the books of Y this is the entry. Who's writing the same both the entries? Same guy. Actual life में ऐसा होता है क्या? And then there is a problem of reconciliation. Anyone here from retail industry? No. My first job was Aditya Birla Group. I was at ABFRL, that time it was called Madura Garments. So I joined internal audit function and मैं सोचा एकदम जाके रॉक स्टार के जैसे I'll change everything. And you know, first assignment क्या बोला वो सब छोड़ो. Don't try to change the world. First reconcile हमारा उस और वो भी किसका reconciliation करना था? You know, this lifestyle brands are there. So all the brands of Louis Philippe, Van Heusen and all things will sell it up. Can you imagine in the year 2002-2003, we had unreconciled amount of 80 crores with lifestyle. 80 crores unreconciled. Can you imagine it? The reason is it's a very simple thing. I think a lot of people here are from business community. You know this concept, like I come from also business community. My father used to say, हमारा खाता सही है, बाकी को भाड़ में जाने दो. ठीक है? तुम अपना अकाउंट तुम कुछ भी लिख सकते हो तुम्हारे बुक्स में, हमारा बुक सच्चा बुक है. ठीक है? My book is the right book of account. So there is no single source of truth. You have your source of truth, I have my source of truth. Everyone has their own source of truth. What blockchain is trying to do is, it is trying to say, it is changing, that's why you have heard this term many places, triple entry system of bookkeeping. They are saying we will move from a fundamental of double entry to 3 entries. You make an entry in your book, I make an entry in my book, and together we make an entry on a blockchain. So that's the reason, as the managers of ledgers, as the custodians of ledger, our ledger has got upgraded, automated, and it is more exciting. So let's we try to do it up. I'll give you one example. This is actually, I'll tell you the source also, you can go to that. I have taken it from IBM's thought paper on blockchain. आप वो thought papers पूरा पढ़िएगा, बहुत interesting thought papers है. What they are saying is, let's reimagine a business in the future where you will not have multiple information. It's already happening. See, tell me one thing. Today, Government of India on e-invoicing, when they are generating, have you noticed they will give you a hash value out there? आपने notice किया? That concept has been taken from blockchain only. We'll discuss that later, little later. But the concept is, a participant A, participant B, the bank who is financing them or giving them credit, insurer, recorder or regulators like MCA, RBI, anyone, as well auditors, they are actually having multiple sets of information going around with them. Can I have, this is like end state, ये IBM का thought paper है, उन्होंने बोला कि आने वाले time में the end thing should be all these guys will have everything onto one blockchain. It will take time. There is a kind of a, we'll talk about phased approach, how it is going. It will take time. But this is called, friends, as the end state. Now, I'll give you one example to this. You may think, "Arey, ये सब बकवास है, कुछ नहीं होने वाला." How many of you think that way? Feel free. Hey, come on, let's discuss. Okay, I'll give you one example. So Bishan Bhai told that I am from Infosys, okay, and I left Infosys in something around 2014, 15 year. And I was, before that, I was the program manager for TDS CPC. All of you know. Abhi kuch problem hai to mere ko I'm out of that. Now I am out of that. But so I was the program manager, so I was managing a team, and most of my friends knew that I am the guy who managed TDS CPC for Infosys. उसके बाद में you know that case happened कि this ITR का एक नया website बनना start हुआ. This is I think 2017-18 में हुआ था ना, right? So उस टाइम में they know I have left Infosys, but Infosys का कोई नंबर तो है नहीं जहाँ पे कॉल करके गाली दे सके. Everyone was frustrated. So उनको एक आदमी मिलता था जिसका नंबर सेव किया हुआ है आनंद इन्फोसिस. तो they used to call me. And जो भी भड़ास है क्या तुम्हारी कंपनी क्या बकवास है, क्या मतलब एकदम all the bad words they will use it for that कि इनको कुछ भी नहीं आता, कौन तुम लोग को कैसे पैसे, मतलब you use it like when person is frustrated. Have you seen that sometimes people are frustrated? So he is actually frustrated, I know that, and he is a good friend. Most of them are good friends, and they have actually shared in the group. Any problem with that? Anand को गाली दो. मैं मजाक नहीं कर रहा हूँ. At least for it is something like that. सत्यम का fraud हुआ था ना. I was a new CA at that time. तो बहुत कई दिन तक मैं family function में जाना बंद कर दिया. Like as of everyone like ask सत्यम में क्या हो? मुझे क्या पता? PwC knows. But they will think that is a thing. So now it was like any time they want to abuse Infosys, they used to call me. Okay, I'm telling you honestly. But I got my chance to repay back. When was that? जब आपका एक Infosys ने live किया, you remember there was this your information system which was there, right? For your tax. AIS. The moment AIS came, I said, "अरे, तुमने AIS देखा?" हाँ यार, मेरे client ने मुझे नहीं बताया. They have never told about all these things. This much of information they know. Like honestly, tell me. Did your client told you all this information beforehand? You never knew this is happening at all, right? Now you know, oh my God. And shall I tell you something? This is one of my friends who was telling in Infi, who was actually in the program management team of this thing. They said this is version 1. They have 24 versions coming out of it. Now imagine when the 24th version comes, don't you think you have somewhere similar to this information? Your information, you can't keep it like hidden. It's gone. You are actually going to have that at the end stage. That's a different thing. मैंने उनको गालियाँ देके बोला तुम लोग देखो अभी तुम्हारा क्या होता है attestation function गया तुम्हारा, मैंने उसको ऐसे बोला. I also got my chance to pay back to them. But the point which I'm trying to bring out is, don't think it is very much difficult to happen. It's already happening, and I'll talk about any one of you are dealing with export import, you will understand that in the shipping side and the things they have already started doing it up. So let's try to understand these two terms before we go to blockchain. We understand one very bigger concept called DLT, which is called distributed ledger technology. So here I am not talking about the concept of blockchain, I am talking about a technology itself. What it is a system which allows transaction and data to be recorded, shared, synchronized across distributed network of nodes using cryptographic tools and a consensus process in an immutable nature. So I am 110% sure कुछ समझ में नहीं आया होगा, right? Perfect, it's good. We wanted to understand it. So I wanted to come to that word by word with a little later. Just try to understand that DLT is the overall game. Blockchain is just one part of that, and we have one more thing which happens mostly used in NFTs. We call it directed acrylic graphs. This is something which is like when connections are made, okay, the connections are not direct. They are basically made on a very different concept altogether. It's a technological concept, we'll not go too much into that. We'll try to go back to the fundamentals, okay? So the fundamentals start from here. If you are actually listening to HBR or audios and all things, there is a very interesting podcast on blockchain by Harvard Business Review School. In that it was Joy Ito and this lady is there, Neha Narula. She is actually one of the big brain on that, and they made a very interesting statement. They said blockchain will do to financial system what internet did to media. Do you remember that thanks to our Mukesh bhai, the moment Jio came into picture, pehle kya hota tha, 1 GB was like costing you some 300, 400 bucks, but when you started having 1 GB per day, did you notice that most of us have, like in my house I am 100% sure we have removed all the DTH connection and all thing, and all the consumption happens based on what? Data. Like I will be watching Netflix or Amazon Prime or whatever I'm doing it, and it happens with most of you. The consumption of media, the way it used to happen earlier, I don't know how many of you are here from the Doordarshan days when oh Chitrahar aayega, Rangoli, and you will sit in front of the TV beforehand and all the thing. Those days are gone. It has totally changed the way media industries are working. I doubt DTH is actually used unless there is no internet connection and all things, the people will be using it, but it's all changed altogether. So the disruption is happening here. Now you can imagine the same thing happening from a perspective of this. Now here I want to take one more very important thing. So right now we are still in the conceptual thing, guys. How many of you think Bitcoin and blockchain is same? It's a very different thing. Bitcoin is actually a very different approach. It's a cryptocurrency or crypto asset as per our Indian law. We call it crypto asset, other places they say cryptocurrency. Blockchain is a part of that which can be just, it has used there, but it can be used everywhere else also. So if you try to see the way all of this started, I just want to go it just quickly. October 2008 में पहली बार एक thought paper publish हुआ था by a gentleman called Satoshi Nakamoto. उन्होंने एक paper publish किया कि oh, this is how we can have a new currency. And you know what was the reason for this currency? Anyone knows why this paper was published? Not just bank transfer system. There is one more thing. I'll give you one hint. Cyprus. Yes, sir. आप बताइए. हाँ, global crisis. लेकिन exactly बताइए क्या हुआ? Central banks you're talking. Perfect, that is true, but there is more thing on that. उससे और आगे क्या हुआ? So what sir is saying is right at the micro level. At the micro level, what you are saying is the right. At a macro level क्या हुआ? I'll just give you a very quickly. Okay, आप में से okay, all of you are chartered accountant. It means you are rich. You have iPhone also. It means you are rich. So आज suddenly 12 बजे रात को मोदी जी का एक आता है शाम को ही होते हैं और बोलते हैं कि आपके अकाउंट में जिसके पास भी 1 लाख रुपए से ज़्यादा रुपए हैं वो सारा पैसा गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया के सेंट्रलाइज अकाउंट में चला जाएगा. हाँ, यू आर स्टिल नॉट कम आउट ऑफ दैट. डू यू नो दिस एक्चुअली हैपन इन सिप्रस? Cyprus is a very small country in Europe. Do you know this happened? They roll back, it is a different thing. They roll back that. मतलब उन्होंने किया. So they said anyone in his account, if you have more than I think it was 50,000 euros, because Cyprus was supposed to pay back to Germany, and there was a country level default which was coming it up. So you know what they said? They said एक काम करते हैं, हमारे लोगों के पास बहुत पैसा ले लेते हैं. सरकार और पैसे लोगों में क्या फर्क है? ले लेते हैं. So they did it and people went ballistic, like they actually, there was a lot of protest and they rolled back. It happened only for 3 days, but this thing led to that कि imagine the state can anytime take your money out. तो एक है मैं जो बहुत सेव करके रखता हूँ, एक आप हो जो उड़ा रहे हो पैसा. Ultimately there is no difference between both of us. You are getting my point? Now that kind of thing when happened, this paper was very thick. People started thinking, oh, why should I go to fiat currency of a central bank? Because central bank can fail. There were issues like LSEs and all things. In London there was like, what is that called? There was another issue which happened similar to that one at the Central Bank of London, I forgot that. Anyway, chalega. So all these things was the paper key, 2008 mein. Can you imagine within 1 year, it was the open source protocol. So they made the code ready and they just publish it up and they said everyone can come onto that. It's a distributed ledger. What is distributed term? I want to use it. I'll actually explain it to you. आप में से कितने लोगों ने torrent डाउनलोड किया है? Only one. बाकी सब अच्छे लोग हैं. मतलब you or you're not telling it. You're being illegal. So torrent when you download is a disruptive technology, right? You can add yourself to a peer-to-peer thing. You are downloading also, uploading also. I don't want to explain that whole thing. आप torrent के बाद जाके पढ़ लेना. It's a distributed technology. No one is one person controlling the torrent. If I download torrent right now, I'll be downloading from even Pakistani guy. You can't say नहीं Pakistan से नहीं करना है, नहीं कर सकते. We can't say that. It's actually totally depending on the technology. We started from 2010. They got it right, and you can see there was a first pizza purchased happened for 10,000 Bitcoin. आज के टाइम में सबसे कॉस्टली पिज़्ज़ा होगा 10,000 बिटकॉइन पे अगर कोई खरीदे $25 का पिज़्ज़ा. एंड यू सी 2008 से लेके 2015 तक 14-15 तक no one knew that. Now the guys who have written this paper, Satoshi Nakamoto, you can download the Bitcoin paper. Just Google Bitcoin paper, it will come out there. You download the paper. उसमें एक लिखा हुआ है how would the accounting will happen if you are making a new currency. The money has to go from one place to another. They said आज के time में anyone who is sitting here in this room, do you know if there is a database, the database can be hacked. Point number one. Database can be tampered. Do you remember, I don't know, it happened here, no not here, it happened in Karnataka only, our state. It is a very interesting thing. You remember there was a GST ruling change on real estate thing. ये होता ना एक notification आया था GST का that your joint development agreement होता ना JDA, you have to pay GST and then you have to revert back. So there has been a case, I'll not tell 2-3 states, where the database at the back end level people went and changed the date of registration to make sure that the registration looks before the notification date, which I am trying to say any database can be tampered with. If you have done audits for SAP, Oracle and all things, you know that we will go and check our database controls and all things. So they wanted to have a control that database cannot be tampered with. कुछ भी हो जाए, because you are making money, it is something like if it can be tampered with. So they came out with a very interesting concept called blockchain, which will be a ledger where they will maintain all the transaction of that. अगर आप लोगों ने से कितने लोगों ने blockchain का Bitcoin का blockchain देखा है? किसी ने देखा है? नहीं? Just go to blockchain.com. You can actually see Ethereum and uska. I can even show it to you later point of time if time permits. Sir, how much time I have? More? Just a time check. वो ऐसा तो नहीं है, मतलब होता है ना जैसे वो जागरण में होता है ईश कृपा से जितने देर तक चलते, ऐसा नहीं है ना. पांडे जी किधर ही है सर, वो मेरे सामने बैठे इसलिए तो मुझे डर लग रहा है. एनीवे, जब भी सर No, it's fine. I'll actually half an hour more. अरे नहीं फिर नहीं. No. I'll take half an hour more. Sure. Thanks, sir. Rakesh bhai. So I'll just quickly cover on this point which is there. Can you see this point here? This goes here. This one. Okay. 2014 में पहली बार लोगों को एक बल्ब जला. अरे ये ब्लॉकचेन तो बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग चीज है. बिटकॉइन में छोड़ देते हैं. ब्लॉकचेन इज इंटरेस्टिंग. And they tried to put into a project called Ethereum project, which is an open source project. They said कोई भी उसको use कर सकता है. It's an open source project. And from that time, 2015, can you see everyone is going into this one, okay? And 2020 में, do you know a company called Gartner? मैंने उसका एक slide भी रखा है. If you are not aware of that, you can go to the site of Gartner, Gartner, Gartner website. You go to the Gartner website, they have something called hype cycle. You know what is hype cycle? Hype cycle is every technology go through a cycle. It start with somewhere at beginning and उनके हिसाब से it goes through 5 stages. एक स्टेज आता है जब वहाँ पे उसका हाइप एकदम सबसे हाई रहता है, लोगों को लगता है कि पूरी दुनिया का प्रॉब्लम यही सॉल्व करेगा. And then there is a thorough of disillusionment. They will get disillusioned also and then again it rises. So they start. In 2020, this was on the top of that. Can you imagine this was blockchain as a technology? आज भी अगर आप blockchain plus Gartner करोगे तो because anyone who buys any technology, the first thing they will refer is Gartner as a base. So it happened there, and you can see Visa, Nasdaq, everyone was spending money into saying that either we have to be there, otherwise this will go it up there. Do you know that Tesla was not the first electric car? Yes? How many of you know that Tesla was a car, like electric cars were there since 1980s? लेकिन वो सक्सेस क्यों नहीं हुई? हाँ? उससे पहले भी था, लेकिन I am talking about working prototype models, which is like on the road. A company was formed, but you know most of the time what happened? All these companies got bought by fossil fuel companies. So what is the best option? I don't want an electric car. जो भी company आती है उसको खरीदो and just kill them. But Tesla was different because that was a backing of a gentleman like Elon Musk. Now similarly, what I'm trying to bring out here is, these people actually thought that we should also try to either get onto the bandwagon or if possible kill that, because एक बात सोचिए, suddenly banks and all the credit card companies will have a problem that इतना सारा हमारा जो revenue आ रहा है, it is just gone. You know, I hope you remember that Visa has gone on record to US embassy and like US senators have come and said कि India में हमने वो we had RuPay card, they were against RuPay card because anything which affect their financial interest, they are going to fight it back, and this is impacting their financial interest big time. And I told you about, you can just try Ripple. I tried it up and I was very happy because in Ripple it was not a money laundering issue. If I'm transferring it up, it is coming to my PayPal account, and ultimately SBI has linked with PayPal account. So I can transfer it to my SBI account and I can take that money, no issue at all. They learned that, oh, this can be done. And then this became, it opened a floodgate. But the floodgate which was opened, there is also one more problem which is there. How many of you are on an Instagram? All of you. So Instagram में जो filters बनते हैं ना, and all that kind of thing, there are a lot of high-end people who are putting their brain on making that filters. Now you can either make filters or you can do other good job. So what is happening is, blockchain के ऊपर में भी जो brains लग रहे हैं, they are on multiple areas. Have you heard about a new term called Web 3.0? They are talking about Web 3.0, which is going to be trustless. मतलब there is no central authority controlling it up. So there also people are using it, but the development is going on to different direction. Now if I have to give, like we are all chartered accountant, right? And every act, section 2 would be definition section. So हमें definition चाहिए ही चाहिए, नहीं तो you don't feel like comfortable कि कुछ पढ़ा ही नहीं. Yes or no, right? Come on, we are, chartered accountant have that kind of feeling. We are very special, okay, people. Yes or no, right? Have you noticed that CA exam के time में you will take everyone's notes and keep a photocopy of that. पढ़ाई करो नहीं करो वो बात की बात है, right? वो हमारा एक this is a CA psychology which comes it up there. Okay, so let's try to have an oversimplified version of the definition. I'm trying to say the word oversimplified, and here I want you to pay attention. इतनी देर तक मैं जो बात कर रहा था वो सब ऐसे ही ज्ञान यान and everything. This is the main crux of our presentation. In this, if you don't understand, I have hundreds of examples to explain you what I am talking about, but please pay attention to this all point. इसमें अगर आपको कुछ भी समझ नहीं आया, ask it me, and this is our crux which is going to be. I have tried to make sure this is a version which is non-technical version, each you and me can understand. So I am telling a term, blockchain is a distributed ledger. So आज when we don't have a distributed ledger, it is a centralized ledger. When I say centralized ledger, आपका tally, आपका ledger वहाँ पे है, right? It is your single source of truth. Do you think the same version of tally, same data is also there in 300 different machines? No. But now I am asking you to think that whatever entries you are passing, 300 different people are also seeing those entries in a real-time version. Okay? How to do that? वो बात की बात है. Please visualize it up. So it can contain what kind of information? Financial information or non-financial transaction. Now, when I put a ledger entry, do I put a detailed sub document attach करता हूँ, or I just give a write entry, debit this account and credit that account? Only some small information I am writing it. So blockchain is not a repository of information. It is just a record book maintaining records. Point number one. Point number two, it is replicated distributed across number of systems in a near real time basis. When I am using a near real time, it means it should get updated at multiple places at the same point of time. This is the second thing. Third, this is the most interesting. Everyone has a copy of ledger with them and they keep getting updated. So, इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि I have to go somewhere and see it up. I have a copy at any point of time. Like for example, I can just show you. If I go right now, you can also try it out. Blockchain.com. This is blockchain.com. I have to just go to the Explorer. And I can actually see, you can see this is all the trades happening, Bitcoin, Ethereum and all thing. So this is the Bitcoin thing. ये इसका पूरा है, ये देखिए इसका blockchain का है. I can see every transaction. It's like a record which is being maintained. So you can see this is the, let's say I have taken this block. In this block, it will tell me what are the latest transaction which has happened. It is from to, किसके account से, इस block में आप देख सकते हैं क्या क्या transaction हुए हैं. From to, this is from this wallet, it has gone to that wallet. Every transaction is maintained. There is anonymity is there that we don't know who the wallet belongs to, but you know that the money has gone from this account to this account. Like in SAP, if you go, do you get ledger account as the name of the company or numbers? Numbers. You have to align to that thing. So what you are seeing is a number. What I am trying to bring out here is, अगर आपको चाहिए, you can put a box with the Bitcoin software. You can also be a part of the thing. You can have the, at any point of time you can see the complete blockchain ledger. Whether you can participate on that, that is a different thing. But everyone can see it up there. Okay. So this is the first point which I wanted to explain you, that in a real time you have everything out there. Second, every participant helped determine the intrinsic value. So if there are, like say all of us are in part of the thing, let's say for example, we are part of the Bitcoin blockchain. आप सब एक node हैं, all of you are having one machines which is doing. Around it is called 51% of the people have to guarantee that this transaction is correct. Only then this transaction will get. Have you heard about this term called ready for posting and posted? So we make a voucher ready for entry in CBS and SAP and all of this kind of thing, and once we post it up, can you change it afterwards? Not possible. So it is something like that. I get it ready, everyone 51% automatically. It's not like I'll click yes, yes, yes. No. It's actually happen machine to machine. So आपने एक नाम term सुना, IoT, Internet of Things. Today your Wi-Fi is not Wi-Fi. Your air conditioner, your washing machine is connected to the net, and you can give a command and it will just do whatever you want it to do it. It's a machine to machine communication which is happening, right? It also works on a machine to machine communication out here. I hope यहाँ तक, is it clear? Sure. Feel free, anything which is doubtful, just tell me. Clear? Okay. Last 2 points, it uses something called cryptography. Okay, what is cryptography? You know, we all know the term cryptography. It is basically nothing but, there are 2 types of cryptography which is there, if I have to use it. Symmetric crypto system, asymmetric crypto system. Symmetric में I can actually encrypt some data and decrypt some data using the same key. And the other one which we use is, आप सबके pocket में रहेगा एक digital signature which works on public key and private key infrastructure, which is concept is very simple. It actually used to make a very simple approach. What is the approach they are doing? They are creating a hash value. अब ये hash value क्या है? Anyone knows this concept hash value? Okay, let me ask you one question. All of you have attended my session. उसका सबसे अच्छा proof क्या है? Best proof, which is not tamperable. Videography, you know, you can add people and all things. It's very easy. अब जेम्स बॉन्ड मूवी नहीं देखते आप लोग? फिल्म देखा कीजिए, उसमें सब बताते हैं कैसे करना है. So, something more. Photography, that's all. एनीथिंग विच विल से दैट यू वर इन माई सेशन, आपको उसी के बेस पे सीपी आवर्स मिलेंगे. मैम रजिस्टर तो मैम क्या बात कर रहे हैं, मतलब ये मतलब सब लोग हंसेंगे. सीपी रजिस्टर मैम इज सेइंग. नो वन मैम. या समवन एल्स सर. यस. Okay, sir, have you heard about a kind of a software called fake GPS? Mobile पे डाल दीजिए. Please try it out. You can be sitting somewhere else. You will show you are here. हाँ? हाँ, friend को भी दे सकते हैं, सही बात है. और बताइए, नहीं आप अपने bonded labels को भेज देंगे यहाँ पे, आप अटेंड नहीं कीजिए. Yes, sir. Sir, video recording, sir says, I am telling you. सर हैश वैल्यू मत जाइए, पहले आइए, हैश वैल्यू में मत जाइए. आई एग्री विथ यू, हैश वैल्यू करेगा, बट उससे पहले अगर ओनली वीडियो रिकॉर्डिंग, डू यू थिंक इट विल सफाइस विदाउट हैश वैल्यू? नहीं करेगा ना. ओके, समवन वाज सेइंग बायोमेट्रिक. कहाँ गए बायोमेट्रिक सर? हाँ सर, बायोमेट्रिक इज अ पॉइंट इन टाइम. आपने वो देखिए दृश्यम, गोवा जाता है. मतलब फिल्में देखा कीजिए. ओके, आई एम अगेन टेलिंग यू, यू गाइज आर ऑल बोरिंग पीपल. सीएज आर बोरिंग. When was the last time you watched a movie? Okay, let me ask you other thing. At least you have watched the movie called The Accountant? हाँ, कितने लोगों ने नहीं देखी? You are all boring chartered accountant. मतलब at least we are the, मतलब किसी ने हमारे ऊपर फिल्म बनाई और हम ही नहीं देख रहे उसको. And you know what is the most interesting thing? Batman is the accountant. Ben Affleck, he plays Batman and he's only the accountant. You're not watching it. That should be an assignment. Go home and watch this movie. Okay? मेरे को उसमें कोई पैसा नहीं मिल रहा, disclaimer. But it's I'm just telling you. ठीक है, anyway, come back. So the best thing is what sir said here, hash. आपको पता है आप जब डिजिटल सिग्नेचर से साइन करते हैं कुछ भी डॉक्यूमेंट, इट जनरेट अ हैश. Hash is nothing but it's something like, if I have to give a very simple example is, think of this like, do you remember that camera used to be there, old one, जहाँ पे एक वो टाइम स्टैम्प आता था वो रेडियम से. हाँ, यू क्लिक इट अप एंड इट विल से दिस टाइम दिस पिक्चर वाज टेकन. आप उस रील को चेंज नहीं कर सकते बिकॉज इट इज एक्सपोज्ड वंस, यू कांट डू एनीथिंग. इट्स अ काइंड ऑफ थिंग. नाउ हैश वैल्यू इज लाइक दैट. अगर आपने देखा होगा ई फाइलिंग जब भी आप करते हैं, इट जनरेट्स अ हैश. व्हाट इज हैश? वेरी सिंपल. इफ आई हैव टू जस्ट से, डू यू रिमेंबर a plus b होल स्क्वायर इज हाउ मच? a square plus b square plus 2ab. हैव यू एवर यूज्ड इट इन योर लाइफ? लेकिन पढ़ाई हमने की है, वो अभी यहाँ होगा यहाँ पे. So its hash is nothing but a mathematical formula. Lot of people have generated this mathematical formula कि if this happened, this should be the hash value out there, and that is what happens there. So it's nothing but it cannot be tampered with. As rightly said, एक बार मैंने hash generate कर दिया, it is very difficult to change it up. You can see this if you next time want to go. There is something called MD5 hash. Okay. So there are a lot of hash generators are there. Okay, the MD5 देख लेते हैं. This is an algorithm. MD5 is one of the algorithm. So I say hi, how are you? And I generate a hash. Did you see some numbers has been generated? Now if I do a small change to this, this hash will change. अगर मैंने यहाँ पे एक full stop भी डाल दिया ना, can you see the hash value has changed here down? It is changed. Now that is what we call it hash. So it uses cryptography. And the last but not least, which is very interesting here, it has a kind of, it keeps on adding the blocks to the chain. So it has a way of a mechanism to make it hard to change. अगर आपने उसको tamper करने का कोशिश किया, कुछ किया, it is like auto destruct mode. The whole blockchain destruct if you try to change it up. If you want to visually think of this, I will try to just give you one example. Visually think it up like this. I have more examples, but you know I will not go too much into that. This is how it is there. I keep on giving one plus thing. आपने वो पुरानी लेजर बुक देखी है? हम लोग जो मैनुअल बुक होता था, एंड यू रिमेंबर फ्रॉड कहाँ पे होता था उसमें? ब्रॉड फॉरवर्ड और कैरी फॉरवर्ड में, राइट? ब्रॉड फॉरवर्ड, कैरी फॉरवर्ड. Blockchain is like this only. What I am trying to do is every block I am putting two hash, brought forward hash, new hash. Whatever is the carry forward hash become the new hash out there, and that is the fundamental concept. That's the thing which you should know. That's all. And that is what we are trying to discuss out here. I hope you are clear on this one, guys. Okay. So now the question arises, If someone tries to tamper with the block number 74, you try to change even small, the hash value will get changed and the whole thing will do. So you have a trust of safety, trust of issuance and trust of correctness. All the three things a machine is giving you, or a concept or a technology is giving you, instead of a central bank or a central authority. So I can now have all the transaction happening in a real-time basis. I hope I got the things. So if you have any questions on this part, just let me know, because then our main crux is solved. I have only 3-4 slides more and then we will go for our thing. Yeah, is it clear? Great. So these are the things which a component is there, which you should know. Cryptography use hota hai, peer-to-peer technology is used, consensus mechanism. Consensus mechanism means how I am actually making sure people approve a transactions, machine to machine, a ledger record is maintained and validity rule. इसी को Gartner has, you can just go to the Gartner site in 2023, they gave this 5 points as the important thing. What are these things? They said there should be encryption, immutability means if you do any changes to that, it will be tracked. Distribution, distributed ledger, decentralized, no single authority is controlling it. And the most important of anything, we call this as tokenization. Tokenization is the key, guys. NFT ho, Web 3.0, you talk about asset classification, everything, the concept is tokenization, which means you are having a transaction happening on a token based system, and that is the main crux of all the thing. And where it is being used, guys, this is the potential thing. So I can keep on talking about this for a very long time. I'll just try to go some important point. Can you see this? It can be used as 4 main things. First one, digital currency. E-commerce, I gave you the example, remittances from different part of the world, we are paying so much of money out there. Peer-to-peer lending and microfinance. How many of you know what is the rate of interest in microfinance, guys? Any guesses? Sir, it goes up to 36 to 45%. Effective rate goes to 36 to 45%. Now the reason is, वहाँ पे बहुत सारा loss भी होता है, because the amount is less and you know the following up is there. Imagine you enable it on this whole concept of smart contract, which is a part of that. What is smart contract? Is simple. If this, then do this. A simple condition is met. ये हुआ तो ये होगा, ये नहीं हुआ तो ये होगा. अगर I paid on time, no notices are sent. If I am not paid on time, it will automatically collect all the penalties on thing. So this is first thing. Second, record keeping. Okay, now I have a question here. We have one problem also. Do you know in record keeping we have multiple records are being done, there is no single source of truth. It can be health record where people are working on that. It can be title records. Title records, when I am talking about, think of this. In India, how many of you have purchased a land in last 5 years? Land, not a house. Oh, 1%. Sir, was it easy? Documentation, was it easy? You never know, you purchase a land, after someone they will say, is family mein ek aadmi ka claim hai, that will go for it up. There is no single source of truth. How many of you know there is a kind of a blockchain called Ben. Google it out. The name of the blockchain is Ben. And you know which country is using it right now? Ghana. What Ghana is doing is, they are saying, we will have a single source of record. अगर इसमें ownership इनके नाम से है तो वही owner है. Whatever is there, you can't tamper with that. You can't go to database and change the name and all things. Every transaction is going to be there. So land records are being come out there. Similarly, ownership and voting and intellectual rights. And last on this one is securities. Let's say I want to monetize this hotel. I want to sell off this hotel, every room, one price, and you can be an owner of that room. How can I do it? Imagine I create token out there. Instead of going to a stock market or doing anything, I can give part ownership for people on that. So that is on the securities, debt, crowdfunding and derivatives part, you can use it. And last but not least, digital rights management. Now digital rights management is very interesting, where you can use it mostly from a perspective of how we can actually deal with that. So all these things, friends, are the use cases where you can do it. It's very interesting, it's very big, and the point is that the use cases are more than that. I have just two more slides on this one, which is actually, first one is how accounting and auditing is going to get impacted because of that. So I've just skipped some of the use case slide, we don't have time. This is first thing. The first point is actually on principal and agent relationship. In accounting, it is going to change. You can see dispute resolution, triple entry system of bookkeeping, and one more very interesting thing which we can actually think of there is, can you see this single source of truth we are talking about? We are talking about having a single source of truth. And आप में से जितने लोग भी central auditors हैं, they would know that interbank reconciliation for 17 banks is happening on a blockchain. You can just go and check it up. So there is a single source of truth. You don't have to worry about that at all. And that is exactly which is coming out there. The only thing you are going to see is arbitration part and any other issues which can come out here. And this is how we are trying to see is, right now we are seeing people who have overcome the early adoption. Early adoption has already happened. People have been doing POCs and all things. What we will see is, you will try to see a more of piloting which is done by people. And here is what we are right now entering, phase 2. Yahan pe now people are talking about how to remove the Rube Goldberg processes. So I will highly recommend you to go to 3 sites if you have time. Go to Ethereum, check out that. Second is R3 Corda. R3 is a consortium, and CORDA, it is an enterprise blockchain. It is not used for publicly. It is an enterprise blockchain. And the third one is Hyperledger Fabric by IBM. All 3 are now open source, which basically means, आपको लगता हो कि ये बहुत expensive technologies and all thing, you can have your blockchain up and running at less than 4 to 5 lakhs today. Can you imagine that? मतलब at a cost of a Maruti car, Maruti car, right? A Maruti car, you can have things running. The reason being, most of this technology is open source right now, okay? And what we are approaching right now is phase 3. This is going to be a mainstream adoption. Timeline which people has given it up, it will actually happen. Don't you think GST as a platform, if it is on blockchain, it will be much better? But the problem is the technology, underlying technology, they use Oracle database. We require a database which can handle that kind of load. And that is still getting developed. So it will take some time before mass adoption at the government level we can actually see it up there. So that is going to be phase 3, global adoption. We see it by 2030. You will see more and more people getting onto that. Now, what we should worry about, these are the real world use cases. You can take a snap of this. You can just try it out. I have just tried to put kahan pe already use ho rahe hain. And this is a very interesting thing. It took me some time to figure it out. But already, these are the real time cases being done everywhere in the world. So these are up and running. ये मतलब कोई conceptual नहीं है. I told you about Ghana, Ben. It is live and running. So imagine a country like Ghana can do it, then it's a shame on us. We should be doing it first. But it's a different story that at Andhra Pradesh, they had a new capital called Amravati. So you can go and check it out. They tried to do a POC there, but फिर उन्होंने वो capital ही बदल दिया. So हमारा politicians are different level, okay? So they can do anything. So if you want to go into this, guys, why we should know about that? 2 things. As a closure point, I'll just say, you need to have a transformational mindset, experimental mindset, to try to see how you need to be thinking कि ये कहाँ पे use कर. I told you one word, remember that word. It's like aloe vera. In a very simple word, it is like, it is a solution searching for problem statement. If you see a kind of thing where there is a centralized opportunity and many participants are there, you should go and use blockchain. And today, adoption of this is very easy. It's not as tough as it is to. And that will lead to what we call moving the business to X, and that's something which can be easily done. So to summarize, what I'm trying to say is, this is a kind of a disruptive technology, and this technology can be used very, very efficiently by all of us. As we call ourselves as valued advisor to businesses, as the, I would say the custodian of ledger. Our ledger is changing, the businesses are changing, and in this kind of environment, it becomes very, very important for us to understand that, see where it can be fit, and how we can take it forward. So thank you very much for a patient hearing, and thank you.
So first of all, my compliments, sir, for the wonderful session. It was in such a lucid language, I would say, because for people like us who are from the non-technical background, if we were able to correlate the things, so for sure, it's a wonderful lecture, I would say. And the technology is something which is inevitable. The way we have been doing the audits and everything in the times, I'm sure after 4 or 5 years, maybe the things will be redundant, and everything would be done with this technology thing only. As of now also it is being done. Not only audit, I would say, even the written filings and all these things, this also would be gone, or accounting or something. The world is going to change so fast. So we cannot just skip all these things. We need to learn. When the subject of MICS or FEDP or something was there, we are feeling like ये क्यों है, ये हमारी books में होने की ज़रूरत क्या है, इसकी तो कोई ज़रूरत है ही नहीं CA को. But now we feel relevant that yes, because these things were taught to us, at least we can relate as of now. So once again, sir, thank you very much for the wonderful session, and looking forward to see you many more times in Ahmedabad. Thanks a lot, and we'll immediately start with the next session.